Yes, still recovering from the heartburn and pain of the World Test Championship. Couldn't even say the word because of the pain I've been through. Can't believe that we were made to bat first. Uske baad, so let's not even talk about what happened. There was no chance. Wicket just suited New Zealand, and I'm still suffering. It's like a bad marriage. There's no way out of it. We're stuck with cricket, but this was painful, and it's going to be there for some time. But the good news is we have today someone who has got a very good biodata. He's very famous, and he makes more money than the entire IVM broadcasting institution on his own in one day. Let me introduce Dheeraj Sinha, CEO and Chief Strategy Officer at Leo Burnett India. बराबर बोला ना सर जी?
बिल्कुल
सबसे
बिल्कुल
important चीज है नाम और डेजिग्नेशन.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
उसके बाद तो कुछ भी बोल सकता है.
नहीं तो प्रमोशन मिल जाएगा, नहीं तो प्रमोशन मिल जाएगा.
या ना मिल जाएगा. But let me start first by saying, sir, again, great body of work. बहुत चीज है. It's very difficult to say what we can talk about. But let's start at the top. क्योंकि आपका show है Speakeasy with Dheeraj Sinha, which is basically, would it be like an advertising show or a show about markets or how to make money?
Yeah, how to make money essentially, right? Because that's what
ऐसा
people
बोलना
want to
पड़ेगा
do.
ना, तो लोग को पता है ना, तो that's what I'm just trying to. हाँ.
Clickbait चाहिए, right?
Clickbait,
So
exactly.
हाँ, है ना. So basically, the show is about saying we are talking to a lot of leaders who build businesses, who build brands, both in India and abroad. And the idea is ki if we can build a playbook, an audio playbook for entrepreneurs, business guys, brand guys in India on how to build brands and scale them quickly. So that's broadly the show is about. So I'm talking to lots of marketing leaders, business leaders, global consultants, and trying to build this in the show.
But धीरज ब्रदर, अगर ये आसान चीज है यार, ये डेफिनेट फॉर्मूला, सक्सेसफुल फॉर्मूला है किसी के पास, then wouldn't everyone be able to do it? I mean,
तो बहुत लोग कर रहे हैं. बहुत लोग कर रहे हैं. आप अगर देखो, if you look at this, right, there's data which floats around on Twitter कि about 15 years ago, right, it took about a decade to build a unicorn, right? In today's time, 2.5 years to become a unicorn. Right. So obviously there's a certain formula in play. Now we have to collate that. Now the other thing is that people who've studied a lot, right? You've gone and done an MBA, paid a lot of money, and you've been taught all wrong shit. And then, so I'm sorry for you because then you've been taught all wrong shit. Right?
This is why they tell me listen to the answer and then talk.
So a lot of stuff, एक तो वो बहुत पुराना है, right? All the theories they teach you in MBA schools, etc., is at least 2-3 decades old, made for
by
television.
By the time you pass out, वो तो already हो गया ना, because
already old हो चुका है, right? Also built for emerging markets, built for America, Europe, right? Where you have to get share, you have to be competitive. India में you're building every category, right? So competition doesn't matter. Actually, differentiation doesn't matter. And you go to MBA school, they teach you differentiation, like Pahada. Differentiation doesn't matter in India, right? All that you need to be is relevant to people. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, "Aaj main kis toothpaste se brush karu?" Right? Nobody cares.
People, it's true.
People like brands because they like them, right? So some of these theories is what we're trying to capture.
और सच बताओ तो I don't think I've ever asked my mother in my life कि मुझे ये specific brand चाहिए, toothpaste या toothbrush के जो brands थे in my time. I don't remember the name, Binaka, Sibaka, Close Up, but I don't remember once saying कि mom, can you get me this? I'm sure many males have gone through their life without this being a pertinent question. कि आज, as you said, सुबह उठ के आज मैं तो I think Close Up better होगा. You know, I don't think, So it's amazing how much these guys spend. I don't want to make fun of MBA schools and all, but sometimes I wonder that the training is, as you have pointed out, divorced from the logistic of reality. Actually going into a market, reality of the market.
And there are a lot of people out there who've learned it the hard way, built businesses, brands, and have a lot of knowledge, which has not been kind of captured. Right, so this is there. So some of the conversations I'm having are very, very interesting. Right, for example, I was talking to Sapna Chadda, who's the CMO, APAC CMO for Google.
I'll pretend like Sapna and I were in class together. Hanji, Sapna, of course, beautiful. Tell me about it.
so Sapna is head of Google, right? And YouTube is a product, and YouTube is the biggest music platform. But she tells me that I don't mind working with Spotify. We can all be friends because there's a lot more market to capture for both of us. Now that is a very, very modern today's thinking that will never be taught in an MBA school. So things like that.
But how will that work? अगर एक market में दो shark literally
Huh.
how does it work? I mean, how do they make
It
it
works,
equal for
no.
both? Huh.
See, it works, right? Because if you look at India, right? So I have this theory that in India, people like standing in the longest queues, right? So, the before all the new swanky airports came in, right? Say about 10 years back, before GMR and all this sexy airports came in, you went to Delhi, there was one gate to enter the Delhi airport, and the gate went
Mhm.
all the way back. Dwarka tak jata tha wo line, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
toll naka tak.
Suddenly,
Huh. Huh.
right, suddenly a new airport comes in, 24 gates, all sexy, and you go there, you still find one line going all the way back, because Indian mindset, right? इतने सारे लोग खड़े हैं, तो कुछ
जहां पे
ठीक ही
लोग हैं
होगा,
वहीं सही है. Huh.
वही ठीक होगा. Why stand in any of those 23 gates and be a fool,
It's a
right?
brilliant
So
observation, Dheeraj. I accept this. You're absolutely right. Even in the bloody urinal, people want to stand together. जहाँ पे खाली है वो कोई नहीं होगा वहाँ पे. जहाँ पे
कोई नहीं, कुछ
भर
तो
गया
गड़बड़
लोग
होगा.
वहाँ पे. Yeah, it's like maybe this is the working toilet. There's not working toilet, so they stand behind. What the hell is
So
wrong with
you
us?
realize, so
Huh.
you realize in India, what works more. So everybody will buy Maruti because you can't go wrong buying Maruti, right? So every category is explained, 70 to 80% market share in every category is explained by top two or top three players. That's it, right? 80 to 90%. You take any category, there'll be two players, three players dominating it, right? But those two, three players will have significant market share. They'll have 30 or 20 market
बस
share.
आपको कहने का मतलब है कि even a Pepsi and Coke can come together.
Yeah, क्यों नहीं? Why not? See, that's the new age ना. थोड़ा साथ में खेलो, थोड़ा. Look at how Burger King builds its brand, right? They say आज तुम कुछ भी खाओ, तुम McDonald's भी खाओ, doesn't matter. People have fun. Yeah, people like that.
But Dheeraj, McDonald's does not, if I remember correctly, McDonald's does not do the negative or whatever
Doesn't do
the
that. Doesn't do that.
advertising.
Doesn't do that. So some new age brands are realizing that in this new world, right, you can be friends and enemies together, right? Because some of the tasks are mammoths, right? You are trying to get, say, 135 crore people on online transaction. It's a mammoth task, right?
Let me just call
One
the
person can't
PMO
do it.
because Dheeraj Sinha का कहने का मतलब है इसमें कि when India plays Pakistan, you can support Pakistan because the
कभी
market share
कभी
will be
हाँ.
shared. हाँ?
हाँ, कभी 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 कभी.
Hello PMO, please direct line दे दो. Dheeraj, let's end the podcast.
मैं अपना घर बदल रहा हूँ.
नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा. I have a lot of influence, but this is a very interesting point. Yeah, so I'm not to say that कि textbooks are wrong and MBAs are wrong and all that. Like
Yeah.
you said, they serve a purpose. But isn't it
Yeah.
true also that most of the entrepreneurs of the world, that the MBA guy lands up working for that guy? So उसमें
Yeah.
भी कुछ
Yeah.
irony है कि the
Yeah.
real achiever, the startup guy, the visionary, the
Yeah.
inventor, the entrepreneur is actually
Yeah.
comes from left field, so to say, and the
Yeah.
people who follow the model correctly. India में तो middle class
Yeah.
mentality वैसा ही है कि MBA, at least me growing up in the late 80s and 90s, see I said late
Yeah.
80s, I want to make sure I don't look too old. It was everyone was doing it, yeah. And my class, I would say about
Yeah.
30% became MBAs, which is huge.
Yeah.
And now even the
Yeah.
ladies, the girl figures are high. So it's before it was male dominated. Now to I think is it devalued slightly?
See, I think it gives you an entry, right? There are a lot of people who've learned it and then kind of defied it, and those are the people who become successful, right? So I would say don't take it too seriously. Do it, but then learn to question things, learn everything new, right? I mean, I've now been 22 years. I still feel that I have a lot to learn. So wo mindset is important, and this
तो ये
podcast is in that direction.
साहब ये तो पूछना पड़ेगा फिर. You have done the MBA?
I've done the MBA. I've been to MICA.
Superb. Okay, Dheeraj, let's one last word on Speakeasy. So you basically interview people from the fields of
Yeah.
Marketing and product, manufacturing and
And
everything,
business,
all the
yeah.
world of business. Huh?
Yeah.
So you'll not get Priyanka Chopra on the show.
आजकल lot of actors are launching their own brands, their own lines. IP
That's true.
बहुत popular चीज है.
They also launch their own. हाँ नहीं वो production line भी खुद का है because sometimes they don't get work. It's a good idea. I'm being launched by me.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is any successful person you want to see the trend and we understand कि इसका
Yes.
growth कैसा हुआ, कामयाबी,
Yeah.
सफलता कैसा होता है.
Correct,
I suppose
correct.
that's the key. Just see the
Yes.
growth.
Also these are senior leaders, right? So there's a lot in their own life journey, right? I mean, how do they manage stress? How do they manage? So some of the conversation
give
meanders
examples?
there as well.
एक दो
Yeah, I
example
mean, for
है.
example, I was talking to Adam Morgan. Now, Adam Morgan is the father of the challenger brand theory, right? And
तो
he's
मैं
written
acting
lots
करता
of
है.
books.
You say Adam Morgan,
हाँ.
I'll act like I know. हाँ.
Huh.
Adam Morgan.
So as you know, Adam Morgan. Now the
Adam,
beautiful
of
thing about
course.
Adam, the
Huh.
beautiful thing about Adam is that, I mean, what I envy about Adam is that he lives on the outskirts of London, has a nice villa right near
नहीं,
the
वो
river.
विजय माल्या है, मैंने देखा.
Huh?
But Vijay Malia, वहां पे
Masquerading,
नाम रखा है एडम. हाँ. Sorry, go
masquerading
on.
as a challenger bread guy.
There you go. There you go. Hmm.
So Adam and I were discussing that how do you bounce back, right? Because in our business shit happens. आप सोचते हो आपने बहुत तोड़ू सा कोई idea crack किया, you go to client and you present it. Clients is bullshit, right? So you have to have the energy of springing back next day, right? And Adam's thing is like, I take a long run and I come back and I take 6 chart papers and I scribble all the thoughts that's there in my mind and get it out, and that's my purging, and I do that almost every day. Now, that's an interesting way to say how do you erase all the clumsiness of yesterday and start afresh every day, right? I mean, Sapna gave a very interesting insight when she said that she was, there was a big job up in Google and she hadn't applied for that job because she didn't think that she was good enough. And her boss called her and said that how can you not be applying for this job, because according to me, you're the top ranking person for that. And her point that at some point in time, all of us need a bit of nudge. That's okay. Go do it. You can do that. So these are also some of the interesting nuggets and learnings from the conversations that we are having.
Okay, it's interesting, but let's now find the khud ka example. Let's go back to the life of Dheeraj Sinha, because I'm sure people will explore the show and will get to know about all the greats of the world in corporate world. But how did Dheeraj Sinha come to this place, and how close are you to Anand Sharma? This is what I want to know, because he's my neighbor. So you better
Anil
say nice
Sharma.
things.
Yeah,
Anand Sharma,
Anil
who was the
Sharma.
head of Leo Burnett about 10 years ago.
Arvind.
Arvind Sharma. Did I say Anand? Sorry,
Arvind Sharma. Arvind, I know. Arvind and I are in touch. So, I mean, a lot of what Leo Burnett today is actually built by Arvind. So, I'm in that sense lucky about all the people who've built this, and kind of we've had a very strong base to build on. My story is my dad was in
Let's
IB.
go to the beginning, sir. वो MBA के पहला. Tell us a bit about your background. That's exactly what you get from the human factor. What you said about Sapna and how she got the nudge to do the job. Yaar, Adam, surname to bhul gaya. How he takes a run and then writes all his thoughts down. Those are the stories that really leap out here.
Yeah. So I have तो हम लोग का basically my dad was in IB, तो हम लोग हर 3 साल में बोरिया बिस्तर बांध करके we used to have transfer. तो हमारे घर में गमले हम नहीं रखते थे क्योंकि फिर हमको बहुत दुख होगा कि we leave behind the plants. So that's the thing I come with. So I was born in Shahjahanpur, lived in Hazaribagh, Bihar Sharif, so all the small towns, Delhi, Pilani, all of that. So I've done the India beat, right? Stayed in hostels. So after grade 10, I've been in hostels all throughout. So learned by myself. All my memories. So my memories are like grade 10 में हजारीबाग में cycle से school जा रहे हैं, right? And it's a very beautiful place, hill station in Jharkhand. It's raining, and so those are my memories. Or standing on the balcony in my house in Bihar Sharif, and उस समय मुझे पता होता था कौन सा नया बाइक लॉन्च हुआ है. सो EHD जावा मुझे बिल्कुल, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू बी स्टैंडिंग देयर 4 आवर्स जस्ट वाचिंग
बाइक्स है. व्हाट आर यू
हाँ,
सेइंग?
नहीं उस समय, हाँ उस समय नया मॉडल, सबका नया मॉडल पता होता, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू बी वाचिंग द रोड एंड द शॉप्स. आई मीन आई हैड द
बाइक ऑब्जर्वर.
Everything, जो भी है. And my at that time वो the shadi band, right, la 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 la, and that guy used to be singing with a mic and the handkerchief on that, and that was my dream job कि एक दिन बड़ा होके ना मैं ये la 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 करूँगा, because वो lead job लगता था मुझे. So that's the childhood. Then went to Pilani, went to SRCC, did economics. From SRCC, I was good in debating. So we went to Harvard, debated there, and so on and so forth.
Passive Harvard for debate competition, or Harvard for a course?
Yeah, debate. We took a team from India for Harvard Model UN and all of that. And then I had an option. I could have gone to Arthur Andersen and become a CA and a consultant, and I had MICA. तो वो दुविधा थी. And then I said यार CA कौन करेगा? And I mean actually a mistake, because I would have been much richer counting money.
Arthur Andersen बंद हो गया.
बंद हो गया. KPMG चले जाते हैं, उसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात.
ठीक है, तो दूसरी नौकरी. अच्छा. So no loyalty in the brand.
Yeah, but basically
you have to stay with one brand.
Yeah, but you would be a CA and a money guy basically. But I realized that comms and understanding people, and that was my thing. I went to MICA, knew nothing about advertising, कुछ पता नहीं था, कोई David Ogilvy वगैरह कुछ पढ़ा हुआ नहीं था. राइट एंड माइका में बहुत कूल से लोग आते थे आपके जैसे, राइट, शॉर्ट्स पहन के, यो मैन, एंड आई एम लाइक फक यार, मेरा मेरा तो कुछ नहीं होएगा, मैं तो बिहार से छोटी छोटी शहरों में पढ़ा, इकोनॉमिक्स ऑनर्स, क्या होगा. But then I got into the groove. I realized and got into the industry. Realized that insights matter, thinking matters, and what worked for me, that I managed this whole जो मिट्टी की खुशबू होती है, knowing India, knowing people, and just I batted more on my
Salt
gut
of the earth.
rather
Huh.
than salt
Salt
of
of
the
the
earth.
earth. Bit of the
का दाना.
Piyush Pandey factor in advertising, I would say also. The ability to
Yeah,
understand India, not just urban cities.
I think it helped that was happening by that. So when I was young, Piyush and Prasoon were building that path where
Yeah.
India was getting accepted, and you didn't have to have chased English and
Yeah.
only rock music in your playlist to be
Correct.
able to succeed in
Huh.
advertising. And then
Yeah.
yes, I mean, I have spent about 10 years doing strategy. I've worked a lot in the region as well. So Southeast Asia, China, Philippines, 15 दिन में घूमता रहता था. So did about 10 years in APAC strategy.
But Dheeraj, you would not take your plants with you because of the बचपन का जो
हाँ बिल्कुल, वो तो so
परिस्थिति.
that वो nomadicness तो सेट था कि भैया
Correct.
एक 2 सूटकेस हमेशा बंदे होने चाहिए, लो, और कभी भी कूच करने के लिए तैयार रहो. So I spent about 5 years at Grey doing APAC strategy, 5 years at Bates doing APAC strategy, then joined Leo Burnett at head of strategy.
Sir, uninitiated के लिए ये APAC exactly क्या है?
No,
APAC
Asia Pacific, right?
Oh, I thought top of it वो APAC हाँ, अच्छा ठीक है.
China, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, ये सारा एशिया.
सर जी आहिस्ते बोलिए प्लीज. चाइना के बारे में हम लोग बातचीत नहीं कर सकते यहाँ पे. It's not allowed.
अब नहीं है. हाँ, मैं पहले जाता था पहले.
तो just the government to note that he is not indulging in any China commerce at the present moment, right sir?
But मुझे पता है जो लोग पिछले साल दिसंबर में थे उधर. बताऊं क्या?
कौन है वो लोग? अगर मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है तो नाम दे दो सर. I will call right now. I have a line. Yeah. Okay, so Dheeraj, but you've won too many things and a lot of interesting stuff. We try and touch as much as we can. Before we come to Leo Burnett, you've written 2 books which are taught in Wharton Business School, which is quite amazing, yaar, because you're a young man. Firstly, normally ये तो 100 साल के बाद fame or renown कमाने के बाद some dead person's books are read, generally speaking, and that too from India, where they probably looked down on us in the old days, for us to be sending them our vision and them to teach it. It's quite an honor. So how did that happen?
Yeah. So I've been lucky there. So around mid 2000, right? So this whole India story was on the surge. So I wrote a paper called Changing Mindset of a Billion Minds. कुछ मैंने fancy सा title दे दिया उसको.
बहुत बढ़िया title है sir. I'm already hooked. पढ़ने का जरूरत भी नहीं है. I'm glad you've written this. I think title is more important than the book, yaar. Today's people should understand
obviously the clickbait. So that floated a lot, right? That became very popular in the APAC because I was basically talking about how from a very laid back Brahmanical mindset, India was changing to a very warrior Kshatriya mindset, and people were going out doing things. I mean, look at the new cricket team, right? The athleticism in our cricket team and so on and so forth. Up to last week, वो आता ही आता है. But वो सब लेके मैंने एक culture mapping किया India का. So that became a hit. And when I was presenting that in Singapore in one of the forums, so the John Wiley and Sons, they are a publisher. Their publisher was there. And she came up to me and said, "Will you write a book?" And I was all of whatever 31, 32. I said, "Abhi kaun kitab likhta hai yaar?" मतलब मैं and थोड़ी फट भी रही थी कि I mean, how can you write a book at this?
It'll come in the way of दारू का time in शाम को.
Yeah, correct.
Bad habits, yaar.
Correct. But basically, I got conned into this, and then I had a contract. I didn't write anything for 6 months, and then finally उन्होंने बोला, "भाई लिखो वरना जो पैसे दिए वापस ले लिए जाएंगे." तो मैंने कहा ये तो नहीं हो सकता. So that's how I wrote my first book. It floated well, and it was a global release. So that got me access to the global audience. Then I liked it. तो फिर मुझे मजा आया कि चलो ये तो अच्छा है. We can do this. And then I wrote my second book, India Reloaded. That also floated a bit. So that's been good.
India Reloaded is about what?
So basically, my whole work is the same zone of saying that, how India behaves differently, right? How you can build business and brands in this market, and how, for example, आप देखो India में, brands such as Kellogg's have spent decades trying to sell cornflakes, right? But there comes, yoga and Baba Ramdev and start selling cornflakes, and people are buying. right? So how people in India buy more through culturally relevant ideas rather than international ideas,
So what you're
right?
saying,
How,
Dheeraj, इस एग्जांपल में कि प्रोडक्ट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, it's how you
yeah, how you sell it, how
associate
you
with the
sell it,
product.
how, yeah, what links you build in people's mind, ये सारा game उसका है,
This is a great
right?
point which the entrepreneur should understand. Don't waste time making a good product. It's hardly going to help.
See, products, see, a lot of categories at the back end. Products are is the same suppliers, right? Across consumer products, same suppliers. आप सारे shampoo वही लोग बना रहे हैं. So it's the
What do you
packaging.
mean? मतलब same
Yeah,
formula. Huh.
same formula, same suppliers. Back end for many products is same. I mean, I'm sure you know the LED glass for Samsung and Apple is probably the same. For all you know, chances of the Apple glasses are being
Oh,
provided by
अच्छा, I
LED.
get
So
what you're saying कि वो
back end,
manufacturing process में एक
हाँ,
साथ सब लोग का हाथ है.
हाँ,
It's hardly
हाँ,
any differential.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So when you're saying about India markets and all that, but isn't it also, I don't know, I should not ask you this because I don't know anything, but isn't it also changing all the time? Because India का जो
Yeah,
dynamics है, it's not easy to understand compared to more
yeah,
homogeneous countries. So
yeah.
what you're writing about in 99 and what you're talking about in 2005 can be completely different.
Yeah. See, kuch basic principles don't change, right? But there's definitely change, right? I mean, if you look at after pandemic, for example, the way we have taken to digital, right? So everybody's now doing digital payment, phone pay, Amazon pay is happening. It's gone through the roof, right? I mean, we didn't think that'll happen so big, so quickly. So those kind of changes are happening, but there's some fundamentals which are not changing. I'll give you an example. For example, look at food, right? अभी हम लोग सब बोलते हैं इंडिया में Mexican, Thai, they are minuscule. Between chicken biryani, paneer, and Indian Chinese, 95% of all India food delivery can be explained.
South Indian snack?
South Indian snack
Dosa,
भी जोड़
dosa?
दो, उदीपी, yeah.
हाँ, हाँ.
तो ये
Is
Mexican,
that true,
Western
this figure,
fast
or
food,
is it a
it's
real
true,
figure?
it's real figure,
95%. और ये Thai
95%.
वाई वगैरह is
क्योंकि
nothing.
nothing. So India, for example, when it comes to food, India, man, I had this guy who told me that Dheeraj, Indian ना कहीं भी चला जाए, कितना भी बड़ा हो जाए, जब तक उसको मिर्ची का स्वाद नहीं आता है ना,
True.
उसको खाने का मजा नहीं आता है,
But
right?
that's correct.
Right? So we go to Paris and we have a dosa, right? Or take our own packages. I mean, there are stories कि कैसे जाकर के can में people block the wash basin, गर्म पानी में Indian food गर्म किया, packaged food और खाया, right? So now that is not going to change. That India, when it comes to food, will not experiment much.
Dheeraj, I paid 11 pounds for bhelpuri in Hounslow in England. I had to try it. And I thought, sorry for the language. I thought later I couldn't believe it. I said, घर जाके I could have eaten 47 sev puris in the same price and better.
Correct.
Yeah, उसमें मिर्ची भी कम थी because obviously it's made little
Made for
less
the yeah.
European
So
palate.
some of these fundas don't change, right? The fact that we like a sense that, so we'll watch कि यार ये चल रहा है कि नहीं, ये brand निकल पड़ा है कि नहीं, निकल पड़ा है तो सब लोग, Cyrus is a big hero, everybody will tune into Cyrus, right? Dheeraj, nobody knows, nobody will tune into Dheeraj, right? So people go for popularity, right? Popularity is a surrogate for quality. तो हम लोग जब we used to go in train from say हजारीबाग to पिलानी, ट्रेन में जाते थे, बीच में एक स्टेशन आता है टुंडला, राइट? टुंडला की टिक्की बहुत मशहूर है. अब आप टुंडला पे उतरो, 15 मिनट ट्रेन रुकती है बिकॉज वहां पे दे चेंज द इंजन, राइट? देयर आर सम 16 टी वालास. वेयर विल यू गो, राइट? यू हैव फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड टू डिसाइड. यू गो टू द गाय वेयर मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ पीपल आर स्टैंडिंग,
Not minimum.
राइट?
क्योंकि
No,
टाइम की चीज है
maximum.
उसमें.
No,
You're trying to get back platform पे ना.
maximum. Yeah, but you still want the best one. So वो ट्रेन चली जा रही है, आप उस पे चल रहे हो, but दे दो because you want the best.
So only
And
one guy is getting the
popularity,
success.
and and popularity is a surrogate for quality. You see that there'll be a Martin's corner and there'll be new Martin बगल में. One will be making huge business, other will be वो बैठ के न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रहा होगा.
And same
Right?
food.
Same food. Because जो बिकता है वही बिकता है. Now that will never change.
ये
That won't
कुलाबा
change
के
for at least
मार्टिन्स
a
के
decade
एग्जांपल
or
है ना.
so.
कुलाबा के मार्टिन्स ना.
Correct.
हाँ. Very good. So you and me go to the same cheap places. I can see.
Yeah.
So success doesn't define you. You want to go where
Yeah.
to save the money, no matter how much millions you make. Very, very good. Very
Absolutely.
interesting. Okay, one question I want to ask you before we go into break. With all this lockdown one, lockdown two, or global lockdown jo hote, and commerce obviously comes to a bit of a standstill. The product selling is much less, making is less. What happens to advertising? Does advertising also take a backseat? Like, what happens when there's less money in the market, and when people are worried?
Yeah, I think there are blips, but if you look at, for example, post first lockdown, say October, November, December, advertising shot through the roof, right? Because
ऊपर
we
गया
had
ग्राफ
IPL.
पे हाँ
Yeah, we had IPL, we had
दिवाली
festivals coming in,
so we had
Diwali. Yeah. I mean, all the advertising rates were through the roof. The brands have done, some of our brands have done better in the quarter one of 2020 than they have ever done, right?
because of the
Uh,
bad first half.
yeah, bad
उसका
first half, pent up, and all of that, right? So, obviously, I mean, April 2020 was devastating. I mean, I have seen zero on people's sales charts, right? But this one has been a little better because it was a shorter lockdown, right? People obviously, I mean, the whole idea was to save lives because you weren't thinking of business continuity. You're thinking, यार लोग बच जाए तो business तो हो जाएगा. That is what
can
the
I be honest?
second.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
business first, पर मैं तो अकेला हूँ. वो कहते हैं insensitive बातें हैं मत करो public में ऐसा मत बोलो. But I was always thinking of business. I open the paper. I just want to see market. In fact, Sensex has gone up in the last bit. So really,
Yeah.
that's like I was happy. I
Yeah.
don't look at how many died in beds है या oxygen है या नहीं है. Honestly, there are people like
Yeah.
us. Dheeraj, everyone is not
Yeah.
so sensitive.
बस बस ऐसे ही लोग चाहिए मुझे, ऐसे ही लोग चाहिए.
Exactly, यार. थोड़ा mix होना चाहिए life में. Market
Correct.
dynamic should not be one only. Remember,
Correct.
there are 16 guys selling tikki, but of course, one or two
हाँ,
guys are making the money. वो तो
एक
अलग बात
एक
है. But what about the guy who continues to sell the tikki? उसमें क्या कहानी है? I mean, he's
हाँ,
the guy on the extreme right, जो 16 position
हाँ,
मिल गया उनको, and who is not बिचावing, he's not able to sell even one.
वो चेंज करेगा बेचारा उसको. He has to find a mobile
वो
phone
तो MBA
shop
करेगा.
or something. Could be that. Could be that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're quite optimistic, is it, about the world
Yeah.
in terms of recovery? And because advertising
Yeah.
pushes everything, we have a sense कि ads जब कम है and advertising hoardings and वो सब कम है, we get a feeling that
Yeah.
there's less money in the market. And when it's
Yeah.
bright and
See, there has been a blip, but the long term story is intact. Log kharch rahe, brands are growing, right? Now I don't know what the wave 3 will be about. I mean, I am not a virologist, I can't predict that.
किसी को पता नहीं,
But
they're
so
just
far
saying
so good.
anything, यार. People
Yeah,
now,
I
we are
think so.
interviewing people who are nothing to do with COVID. This is
Yeah,
Rajesh. Rajesh, आप बताओ third wave कब होगा? And Rajesh has no idea. He'll just say anything. October 15th, 3:30 Tuesday. Uh, I'm
yeah,
telling you, it's like that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what about celebrities? One, we have to go to a break. Celebrities का importance. You said कि brand association जो है ना, but sometimes you can see that any celebrity with any product doesn't always make sense.
See, celebrity ka fund, for example, we've used Anil Kapoor for Spotify, right? We did a whole series with Anil Kapoor and Ishan Khattar, and he's done fabulous for us. He wasn't so exposed in today's times. He's a brilliant actor. Our idea was कि हम दो generation के बीच में music बेचेंगे, right? So between a 40 plus and a young generation, and how music helps the two generations to connect, right? For Spotify, and this worked brilliantly, right? Number one celebrity in India is a visibility rocket, right? So suddenly आपके ad में अनिल कपूर है, अमिताभ बच्चन है, right? Some celebrities there, it gets you that much more visibility. That's one. But you have to tell a very interesting story. So we've done that with Anil Kapoor. We've done that with Amir Khan on PhonePe, Amir Khan and Alia. So we turned them into a cop and whatever and tell very funny stories. That's done very well for PhonePe.
That was
So celebrity.
yeah.
है ना? तो
That
so
was great.
basically
Yeah.
celebrity gives you visibility. B, they are better actors by and large, not all the time. Third,
No, clarify करो सर. कौन थे? List दे दो. Let me write it down. हाँ.
third is की कहानी, brand की कहानी has to be interesting. That's not an excuse. A celebrity coming and saying buy this because I am saying will not work. You have to cast them interestingly, make a story out of it.
Like अपना Pierce Brosnan, James Bond actor, doing Pan Parag, I think it was, and not knowing what the product was. Sometimes they just seem to just put anyone with anything, उसको कोई connection भी नहीं होता उसमें. And I don't know who you're talking to. With the Pan Parag guy is not the guy watching James Bond maybe.
Yeah. I mean, see, people have money. Sometimes they do indulgence. That's okay.
These are all double MBAs. I'm telling you, we trace them to double MBAs. Okay. Shall we go to break? We go to a quick break and bring
Yes.
Silvery on. Let's see what the AMs have for Dheeraj. A lot of people want to make money in these present markets. And as I said, it's led from advertising. He has written 36 books, Silvery. 36 books. But he's only published how many? 3.
The
मैंने एक और डाल दिया उसमें ना. I thought it was a good title. The life and rising times of poor impoverished India. Some long title like that.
अरे हाँ वही.
एक मिनट, गोपाल का और कुछ एडवाइस आ रही है. He's saying Shakespeare ने भी 36 नाटक लिखा था, तो you just have to keep going.
hope है.
हाँ. Gopal, when you're ready, come into camera. Gopal is a very visible actor. You'll see him in many shows. This Dheeraj Sinha is one of the big gods of advertising.
Morning, Gopal.
He can make or break your career, Gopal. वो ऐसा करता है ना तो गया तू, या ऐसा करता तू वापस आ गया, फिर ऐसा वापस. Please talk to him. I'll have to. Recording will go.
Hi Gopal.
तू पूरा बॉडी को बेच सकता है ना तू. You no tension नहीं. ऊपर नीचे आगे पीछे. He'll sell it and however you want it to be sold. This is the celebrity you have to use. यार. वो पूछेगा भी नहीं स्क्रिप्ट क्या है या प्रोडक्ट क्या है, वो लास्ट में डाल दो. No problem. No, चड्डी पहन के आना. He's doing some under modeling. Silvery भाई, rescue our show.
Yes. All right, cool. I'll get to the AMAs.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne asks, he's not Batman, just Bruce Wayne is a user we have. He asks,
Dheeraj,
do you think a celebrity should believe in the product they endorse?
In case he thought he was. I mean, this.
Yeah.
Sir, तू narcotics जो करता है ना वो
knows?
कम करो यार.
Who knows?
Obviously, the brain is getting. ठीक है. Go on.
Okay. So Bruce Wayne asks, do you think a celebrity should believe in the product they endorse? Isn't it a little unethical if they don't personally use / like the product they are promoting?
No, that's okay, right? I mean, that's okay. I don't think you have to be using everything. I mean, it's not, I mean, if a celebrity is saying that I'm endorsing say a brand of tires, it's not that her week they will break their house and put tires there. That's an unfair expectation. But I think what people do expect that if you put your name to the brand, then better make sure that what you're saying, the promise you're making, you've done some check on it. I mean, right? I mean, don't peddle things just for the sake of money. That expectation people now have of celebrities. That
But Dheeraj,
I'm trusting you.
I think they're talking more about the colas and the alcohol. ये दो products.
Yeah.
They make a big thing now. Ronaldo वो बीच में Coca-Cola bottles को निकाला set frame से, you know, that making a statement that we are not involved in something that is bad for children or bad for health, etc. And also with alcohol, I've heard a lot of celebrities saying I won't endorse, but they all drink, which I find very hypocritical. I don't understand that. दारू तो पीता है, public में भी पीता है. It's not like they're hiding.
Yeah. See, it might be, I mean, some celebrity might say that doesn't go with the image. If I've cultivated a very family values kind of a personality, and I don't want to be seen endorsing, say, an alcohol or a cigarette because culturally it's not seen proper, it's fine, right? But most celebrity endorsements, in fact, so if you're endorsing a cola, they will make sure that in that contract, it's mentioned that you will never be seen with a competitor's brand. For example, so those are watertight contracts which are written, so they're supposed to not be seen with it, whether in their personal life, whether they use it, not use it. I don't think it's anybody's business.
But Dave Chappelle ने क्या किया? Silvery भाई, उसने wasn't he the Pepsi guy and then switched to Coke or something?
Yeah. That happens all the time. I mean, after your contract is
over,
to go.
Yeah,
you're free to go. Yeah.
It's like you're married to one lady and then you marry her sister after a 6-month wait. That's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah. It's like there's a case of HP using the voice of Siri to do a campaign. I mean, because somewhere perhaps Apple didn't bind her into a contract.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good idea. But they obviously knew reality in.
Yeah.
So there may be somebody from Apple had moved to them. There must be
or somebody had that clever idea. Let's get this done.
Wow. We must think of doing things like this, stealing other stuff here. It's already there. We just have to steal it. I'm sure we can manage that much. Bolo, next.
All right. Next one comes from Kashin Shetty. He says, "Hello CB and DS." This is just a random question. He says, "Why do
Saving
certain
time.
CEOs
Saving
have
time.
he says, why do certain CEOs have a reputation for being tyrants? Furthermore, as an employee, how can one grow in such a workplace where the boss constantly demeans your efforts?"
Yeah. See, I
पहला
think
बताओ
I
सर
think
आप
huh?
आपका स्टाइल क्या है इसमें? Are you
See,
aggressive with the people or are you democratic?
both. So we are hugely democratic, right? So my thing is allow people the longest rope so that they can fly, right? Hopefully they don't do the other thing, but we are hugely hugely
Tie it to
democratic.
relevant body part. You'll have
Yeah,
more
correct.
control.
Yeah. So we want see we are hugely democratic because see you realize, and especially after the pandemic, we've realized that it's about the people. It's about the people and the culture, right? If the people are together, they believe in a vision, they're the best people together, they will succeed. If you don't have the people with you, they will not succeed. But at least having said that, sometimes you realize that people also need purpose, right? And it's also a job of a leader to build a purpose for the organization, direct people to that purpose. Sometimes you need to, for example, in my agency right now, we are pushing a lot on change towards digital, right? And you realize that sometimes with muscle memory, people might be reluctant for the change, so you have to push that down in a hard way. That's a leader's job as well, right? But the problem happens if a leader begins to see himself as the center for everything. That's where the problem begins to happen. If you see in today's time, I mean, if today I'm part of Leo Burnett, tomorrow I'm not part of Leo Burnett will still carry on, right? You have to run the place with that emotion, that it's a collective effort, you're winning together, right? But as a leader, you may need to use soft gloves sometimes, may need to use hard gloves. I won't deny that. But your sense of leadership has to be a distributed sense of leadership rather than narcissistic sense of leadership. That's
So
what
let me
matters.
ask you a specific question because I think the jawab is in that. If you find
Yeah.
two of your colleagues are making love on a washing machine inside the office, would action be taken against them or not?
No, unless somebody complains, I have no business with that.
Wow, he's an enlightened leader, Silvery. Please tell Anand as soon as possible that he can get a job in Leo Burnett. I mean, as long as the rest of his work is okay, these habits of his will be tolerated. So, no jokes apart. So, Dheeraj, if you have eccentric people who do silly things, which are not necessarily crimes, but just stupid things from time to time, that's not a way to. You're not
You
like
should
a
encourage that.
protocol.
See, no, you should encourage that. See, we are a creative place, right? We need madness. We need mad people, right? If you don't allow for randomness, creativity will not flourish, right? And I'm not just talking about advertising agency. I'm saying all companies need creativity. How long will you go in a straitjacket? How will you succeed in today's times in a straitjacket, right? So you have to allow for randomness.
Where is Chaita Leo Burnett located in Mumbai right now?
So we just shifting. We were in Parel,
Next
next
to
to the
us,
old
MTV.
MTV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
So that,
remember in 2009 or 10, I broke one glass. I played a superb cover drive. We were
huh.
playing a match, and I
So
went straight into your like glass panels.
yeah. So you should have joined the Leo Burnett cricket team.
They were very happy. The Dheeraj Sinha ka leadership was. This is also great, yeah, very well done. Creativity is encouraged.
Yeah. Yeah.
MS Dhoni played with us once, and I don't think you were there at that point. Maybe 2006, 7 years, just
Yeah, that
making
must
his
be
name.
Arvind's
Arvind was there,
time.
huh? And
Yeah.
he came and played. And I brought my
Yeah.
son. It was a Sunday we were shooting, and also,
Oh,
my
superb.
son as
Yeah,
a
in
young
that
eight
in that
9
parking lot.
in the parking
In the
lot,
parking
and my
lot.
son
Yeah.
hit him on the legs and appealed, and they had words. It was great fun here. Dhoni was very
Amazing.
sweet. He said,
Yeah.
"Not out." Oh, come on! For a minute, how Mumbaikars are. He's a great guy. Love that guy.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So next question. Sorry. Next, sir.
Yes. Next one comes in from Harvesh Kasad. He says, "Can we also put the defeat in the WTC to lack of planning? There were no warm-up matches organized before the final. Bowlers took some time to hit the right length in first innings on a helpful pitch."
Yeah. Sorry,
I think
I have
firstly we were one
no.
seamer short. Dheeraj,
Yeah.
would you like to take the
No.
question?
No, go ahead. I mean, I have very little
You're
strategy
not a
on
cricket
this.
lover?
I mean, I see. My point is that, guys, I think we overanalyze this shit, यार. मतलब
But
वो कभी जीतेगा,
like to
कभी नहीं जीतेगा,
कितना
भी
करेगा हम
कितना
लोग?
करेगा? Yeah, go for
At
it.
the, no, I think the selection was a little wrong playing two spinners on that. Now, of course, hindsight,
But
because if it was,
that's in retrospect, yeah.
yeah, in
Hindsight,
retrospect,
right?
because if he
Yeah,
had batted first and made runs and there was not
yeah,
so much in the wicket, then the fourth, fifth day,
yeah,
the spinners would have come into it, even in England.
yeah,
So can't say for sure. But
yeah.
I also think people have to understand luck plays a very important part in sports also.
Correct.
When teams are
Yeah,
close, and
yeah,
in India we have a little difficulty accepting the fact that losing the toss, the wicket was really not good for batting, especially second half of the day on the first day, and we never really recovered from that. If maybe they had batted first, they were 150 all out. Who knows? So
yeah,
can't say for sure. But
yeah.
it's a good run for India in the last 2 years. We've lost only to New Zealand. We've lost three times to New Zealand. That's about it. And एक
Yeah,
test यहाँ पे वहाँ पे with Australia. That's it. So we're basically the most dominant team of the decade. There's no question in all three forms.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And that is due to Chaitra Leo Burnett, the work of Mr. Sharma and Mr. Sinha, who
All
have together brought the
all the
country together.
creativity. Yeah,
Ah, the creativity, keeping
change the fitness of the entire team in last few years.
alone, single-handedly. Even
Yeah,
Ravi
but
Ashwin now picks up and throws with one hand.
yeah, by not running ourselves, but
Okay, that's true. Why should you do what you say? That's a great question. I कहता है कि will you make a good coach if you're not a player? You don't need a
yeah,
player to be a good coach. What do you think? I
yeah,
mean, you're a guy who's motivating people in a way with your books and stuff as well.
yeah. Can you
So
be a
it's
good
not,
coach without being a? See, I do feel that थोड़ा तो expertise होना चाहिए. We have too many people recommending things without knowing this stuff. So I come from a belief that you need to have the expertise to
no,
be
but do
able
you have
to
to have played
coach.
high sport to be the coach? I
No,
mean, do you
not
have to?
essentially. Not
That's what I'm
essentially.
saying.
Not essentially. Not
So
essentially.
I would like to put my hand up after Ravi Shastri to coach the Indian cricket team.
Yes,
I
yes.
feel मेरा
Or
contribution will be appreciated around the world.
or
And
or go for a no confidence motion.
वो तो
By
बहुत
me.
है यार. I'm very fond of my cricketers. I can't fight with them for long. It's like family members. No, थोड़ा झगड़ा होता है खाने के time and that's it.
हाँ.
It doesn't last forever. If it lasts
But उनका
forever, then you're
तख्ता
like
नहीं पलट सकते. तख्ता नहीं पलट
exactly,
सकते.
exactly. Okay, that's enough of cricket because Dheeraj is not in the sport. Are you following Euro Cup?
No, yeah. No.
It's only marketing, and marketing dynamics. No, nothing else interesting.
Yeah.
ठीक है. Sylvie, next question.
Yep. Next one comes in from Neeti Goldhawk. She says, what are a few of your favorite brand campaigns from India in the recent times?
Including your own.
Thank you so much. I love that. See, I mean, for example, the latest one is what we've done for PNG Siksha, right? And it's floated a lot. Basically, PNG builds schools with the contribution that happens through the products. And this story, the latest story is about how during the pandemic, right? Pandemic has increased the digital divide between haves and have-nots. So, story of a small girl in a village in India, right? Who's seeing through the glass how the family is struggling that internet nahi mil raha hai, and therefore school nahi chal raha hai, right? And finally they get their school and the internet for their child. But for this young girl, the school hasn't even come back, right? And how PNG, so that's a nice story bringing around the divide, the digital divide that has become even bigger during the pandemic in India. So that's something very close to my heart. We did another campaign for a brand called Car Dekho last month, where we said, when young people, when you've just learned driving, you put an L on your car, right? We see on the roads a lot of road rage against elderly people driving the car, right? You're brushing them and you're honking them and so on and so forth. And we said, what about E for elderly, right? And we said, what if we write E for elderly?
What about C for chutia? वो भी बहुत लोग हैं.
That can be the next campaign.
I think it'll be a big hit. You just put C. I won't bother you. I know कि ये चूतिया है. No point having a conversation.
So that's again a interesting campaign we did. Right. I would Phone Pay is the piece of work that is very close to my heart, right, which is done well. From outside, not my own work, I think Cadbury did a campaign with small shops, right, where they promoted the neighborhood retailers, right, and that's done well at award circuit as well. And that again is a very, very good piece of thinking of putting the neighborhood kiranas and giving them advertising space rather than just your own brand. So these are some of the recent campaigns.
इसका age-old question है, when the creative is something you love and you accept that it's great and you feel कि वो spot on and all that, does it help the sales?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. You can do a direct correlation whether the campaign has worked or not, because we monitor it. I mean, we monitor post. See, because there's a huge amount of media money that gets spent on a campaign, right? I mean, you can't. Gone are the days we could do it as a luxury or indulgence. So everything is absolutely measurable nowadays, and if it doesn't have an impact on the brand, there are consequences to that.
सर आई वांट टू आस्क यू कि अगर आपके पास एक व्हाट इज द वर्ड सैनिटरी नैपकिन का एड है, व्हाई कांट अ मेल बी द सैनिटरी नैपकिन मॉडल? व्हाई इज इट ऑलवेज
Absolutely.
फीमेल? व्हाई
No,
डोंट
it
यू
has
थिंक
to be.
आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स?
No, no, Cyrus, it's a fantastic idea. I mean, I've been.
I was made to buy sanitary napkins for my family during the pandemic, for example. I had to go myself, and he gave me that look, वो eyebrow वाला look ना ऐसा.
Yeah. No, you have
एक
an
second का
insight
look
there.
था. हाँ.
You have an insight there. See, my point is, and which is agreeing to your point, that India में जिस दिन वो जो घर का जो shopping list है ना, उसके नीचे sanitary napkin जिस दिन आ जाएगा, उस दिन ये idea normalize होगा, right? Now we have to get there. I'm sure we'll get there. But you're right, absolutely right.
Sanitary napkin, diaper, and condom. हाँ, Silvery, note
Yeah.
it. हाँ, Monday के लिए. Oh, Silvery भाई, बच्चा तो सो गया. He's not interested in the show only. He's completely lost interest. जो advertising आदमी है ना, he only likes certain topics. हाँ, बोलो Silvery.
All right. Next one comes in from Karan Sethi. He asks, how does one promote a product with a bad reputation? For example, the Tata Nano during the time when the cars were catching fire regularly.
Yeah. So I don't think what took Tata Nano down. It's not a bad product. In fact, it's a very good product. It was sold badly. Right. What went wrong with Tata Nano was, if you look at Indian culture mindset, we've all grown up seeing the nice fluffy ambassador. The seat were like sofa, right? Springy, big, voluptuous size, and you like गाड़ी आए तो मतलब दिखता है गाड़ी, right? That's the Indian idea of a car, right?
ये मारुति 800 आई ना?
Maruti 800 also had a presence. It had a presence on the road. It was new, cute, modern thing, right? So you save all your life to buy a car so that you're visible, so that neighbor says, "Wow, you've arrived in life. You've got status." We sold Tata Nano as a cheap car, right? कि सस्ता है, right?
वो भी गलत था.
So
1 लाख का एक गाड़ी वो तो था भी नहीं. It started at 124.
Yeah, but the whole packaging was sasta. So you bought a Tata, then you went on the road and somebody rolls the shisha down and said, "Sasta gaadi kharida hai, paise nahi the," right? And all your life, car in India is a status buy.
It was anti-image, you're saying.
Anti-image. That's what pulled the car down, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with the product. It's a very, very good product, right? But it got sold. The category is about status, and you sold it as cheap. And that's where you failed.
Silvery, the lesson to be learned here is, if you want to have a good image, become a driver, not a car owner. Because then you can drive many cars and look good without being actually, owning them and wasting money. So remember, be a driver, not an owner. Right, sir? Correct me if I'm wrong at any point.
Absolutely. You're always right.
I don't think I'll get a job in Leo Burnett in the next couple of years, at least. Next question, sir.
All right. Next one comes in from Prarabdh. He says, do you think self-deprecating campaigns would work in India?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I think, anything which leads to humor, right? Anything which is authentic, not pretending too much, right? Because people are tired of just hearing posturing, ये कर लो, सबको पता है यार कि क्या होता है life में, right? So I would say that things which are authentic, self-deprecating, not taking yourself too seriously, all of that will work.
I think that's what the Congress has been doing for some time now, and trying to repair their image. So if it works in politics, it's safe for all of us, is what I would say. Or Silvery bhai.
Okay, hi. Yeah, sorry, voice got cut. This one is comes in from Yagdeep Singh. He says, what does Dheeraj think about doing an MBA in today's times?
He actually discussed that, but ek baar.
Yeah. So guys, don't get me wrong, right? I mean, go ahead, do that MBA, right? But also keep
because of you, they're calling the Pitaji mein nahi karta hai. वो Dheeraj Sinha ने कहा, waste of time है.
Yeah, but see, you have to be able to bunk something. You need to know what's there. But I would exhort you to not kill your gut ever, right? Don't sell your gut to the logic, right? Don't abdicate yourself to some 12 focus group discussion and one sample research which tells you something. If your gut is saying that this will work or this will not work, because your gut is experience, it's data as well. It works on data. So keep that alive, keep your gut alive, keep your randomness alive, right? Be willing to take risk. Don't become so linear that everything has to be logical. That's the spirit, I would say. Whatever business you're doing, entrepreneur, etc., keep that alive.
But Dheeraj, again, coming back to the point, I think you answered it. Do we do the MBA or we don't do the MBA?
So do the MBA. Do the MBA. There's a lot. See, there's a lot that you learn in
But when
terms
you
of
do the
theories,
MBA, then what you're saying,
courses
you
are
go
there.
against that, no? In a sense, कि जब MBA करने का time, because your mind, your soch becomes like formal, and you're following,
Yeah, but
certain
see, it
analysis
also
and
it
thinking.
also teaches you, but it also teaches you a lot of other fundas. You meet people, you do network, right? You learn through each other. For example, in my class at MICA, I mean, I did very little of class, but I read books. I saw all ads. Right, I had brilliant friends. We used to discuss, debate. I mean, that's my richness I got from. So MBA is not just about what happens in the classroom. It's also about the interaction, the network that you build, and we learn as much from that than just the books.
The social dynamic around doing an MBA.
हाँ,
And Maika
yeah.
का theme song, is it Maika मत जाइयो मेरी जान?
हाँ, और हम लोग वो शेला में शेला के गांव में शेला के
Sorry, I
गांव
couldn't
में
resist, yaar. Please understand. It's like drinking. Temptation होते हैं ना life
yeah,
में. It happens
yeah,
sometimes. Let it
yeah,
go, sir.
yeah,
Let it
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So just to clarify,
The-
he's not saying don't do an MBA. I think Yugdeep and others who have initial conversation what we were talking about, he just said don't be only
yeah,
from an MBA frame of mind. Is that right?
absolutely.
ठीक है. And sir has done it. So just for those who want to know. Yeah. So the proof of the pudding. Yes, Suvir actually said the same thing, Silvery, yesterday. Suvir Saran, who's leading chef, as I told you, Michelin chef and all that, self-made guy. He said the formal learning of culinary arts and all in these famous
Yes.
schools is important also. But it's also important to have that Panditji who trained you in India and taught you the
Yeah.
non-linear way to cook, which you
Yes.
cannot ever teach. And he
Yeah.
gave an example of how he cannot match some of the simple khana that Panditji has made in spite of all his talent.
Yeah.
Because there's just
Yeah.
no way to learn.
Yeah.
You just observe
Yeah.
and try your best.
Yeah. It's the same
So-
principle. Yeah.
Okay. Silvery bhai.
Right.
Comedy
Next
is a
one
bit
comes in.
different, Silvery. Here we just will go on the internet, rob jokes and say it. And then just check if people are coming after you or not. Because India's a young democracy. Huh? Bolo.
Okay. Yeah, next one comes in. Another one from Bruce Wayne. He says, aiming for Cyrus. How was it working with? You already answered this audio, but I think he's asking the question. How was it working with Amitabh Bachchan in Pepsi and Dabur Pudin Hara commercials?
For me, but by then I'd already met him. It was the first time when we shot with MTV. When he first came, that was the first time I felt pressure. Because I grew up on Amitabh Bachchan. Like, I don't know if I've answered this before, but I've done it in forums elsewhere. So for me, that was the first time. And what happened is Vinod Khanna's son was supposed to do the thing. And he, as usual, felt sick last minute. So they called me up and said, Broacha, tere ko karna padega, but you have to be serious. And you can't, if he gets angry, we are screwed. This is huge for us and blah, blah, blah. So I got a 1 hour bhashan, firstly, like a child. Then I'm waiting there in Tardeo in our old office, and finally people are looking from the window. So you're so starstruck, it's ridiculous. I'm sure in Leo Burnett, one generation will also behave like that with Amitabh Bachchan. And so when he actually came in, and he came in the dressing room, and the marketing guys introduced and all that, and I said hello and all that, he looked at me very nicely and said, so which one will make me look cool? And he took out 2 of the really Yarana or Shan glasses, which were really bad. But he just broke the ice with that, because I didn't expect that as the first question. And after that, we chatted, and he was great. So after the first time, it was much easier. But my best Amitabh Bachchan story, all-time best, is 2000. Dheeraj already brought it up. 2000, 1999 ka 2000 year, ka New Year.
Yeah.
I had a gig in Delhi, and obviously he had a gig in Delhi. So at 6 in the morning, who's on a plane on 1st January? I mean, the world's losers, right? जिनके पास कोई social standing नहीं है, जिनके पास कोई family friends नहीं है, जिनके पास कोई functions नहीं थे. So, who the hell? I kept my head down, because when Amitabh Bachchan is coming, the whole airport is turned, so he's coming.
Yeah.
And then he also keeps his head down and walks, so you don't make eye contact. Got onto the plane, they had put me in business class, so I was sitting quietly. There were hardly 2-3 people, and the great man comes and he sits. He was a little away from me, so eye contact nahi hua. I kept quiet and all that. Then on the way down, only 3-4 of us in that bus, or Mumbai ka bus, going to the plane to this thing terminal. In that, he goes, "You don't recognize me, Mr. Broacha?" I was like, "Oh God!" And I was still keeping a low. I felt so bad because I actually didn't want to disrespect him, so I was looking away. I was not trying to be arrogant by any standard. Then of course we chatted for 2 minutes about how only 2 people are working on December 31st and going home on Jan 1st first flight. And yeah, so you're talking about self-deprecating. He's so good at doing that, yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's very charming. He's very funny when he's in a good mood. I mean, I've never seen him in a bad mood, but yeah. So I had some great stories. Yeah. Celebrity bhai. Dheeraj, do you have any stories? Have you ever met a celebrity that you grew up thinking, yeah, yes, this is one of my guy, somebody you really liked?
Actually, I mean, I don't go to shoots, right? I don't go to shoots. I stay away from shoots. Actually, I've never been starstruck, strangely, right?
That's why you did not say namaste when I began the show. I'm hurt, yeah. He's saying he's never been starstruck. Yeah. The boys want to know what's happening. Okay, so let's do one more quickly.
Sure. Another one comes in from Neeti Goldhawk. She's asking, do you think brands / content makers have to walk on eggshells today? People are easily offended. Could be due to cultural beliefs or ethics, and we have a thriving cancel culture.
The Tanishq ad, for example, I think that is Dheeraj. Ab batao.
Yeah. See,
what went wrong there?
See, my point is that even brands have at times taken it to an extent that is not required, right? So you're a brand, you're about consumption, right? My sense is that even if you're doing a purpose ad, do it in the realm of your influence. If you can solve that problem, do it. So, for example, we built a product which helps prevent accidents on Upin Benz for HP, which is a lubricant brand. So it's all connected. You are a HP, you are a lubricant brand, you put fuel in trucks, right? Trucks meet accidents at Upin Benz. You're trying to solve a problem. I think that kind of a purpose thinking is good. When it goes beyond saying that, I will make a statement about a problem which I can't solve, that's when you get into a tricky situation, right? So that is biting more than what you can chew, right? So my recommendation.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So my recommendation is have a purpose, make a statement, right? But as far as I don't think anybody will punish you if you are making a statement about something in which you are making a difference, right? The problem happens when you have an opinion and you're doing jack shit about it, right? And that, I would agree, is a dangerous territory and should be a dangerous territory.
But why should you apologize for a view on secularism, which it basically was, without taking names?
But how is the jewelry helping that? How is the jewelry helping that?
That's a creative license they've taken, but you're not talking as a marketing person. I'm just saying, why is it wrong for them to express their view, which is fundamentally not a negative view of,
Yeah, I think people take umbrage when they feel that somewhere that it's being taken for a commercial ride, right? Because I mean, you know that a brand is in a business, right?
So you diluted the idea.
You're
diluting the idea is what you're saying by commercializing it.
Yeah. I mean, I have, for example, we've had so many times when we've had ideas like this in the agency for many brands, and you evaluated that is this something that I should have a point of view on or not, right? I think
from a
that
logistical
is
reason.
important.
There's a logistical reason and there is a moral reason also. They're both.
Yeah.
Outcome kya hoga isme?
I mean, right now, for example, there's a piece which is doing very well at Cannes, right? Where it's Dentsu's piece of work, where they created a news letter through 8-bit this thing on the normal mobile phones, not the smartphones, when the internet was blackened out in Kashmir. Now you're solving a problem there, right? People are not getting access to information. You've created a news service which is available on feature phones through 8-bit data. So you've solved a problem. Nobody's coming after you. People are saying, okay, good, well done. Because you've actually solved an issue. Right? So that's what my sense is. I think we should, if you have a right to have a point of view, if you can solve this, you can add to the solution, please have a point of view on that. If not, then stay within your limits.
But would you say it's successful if the controversy makes it front page? हर न्यूज़पेपर्स एंड डिजिटल forums पे हर लैंग्वेजेस में I mean, which it was the Turkish cat, for example, for 3-4 days definitely was front page news. So actually they get a lot of publicity. The brand got a lot of publicity out of it, good or bad. So does that help?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I wouldn't have. I mean, I haven't seen Tanishq data, etc. on this. But see, by and large, because the jewelry buying audience is very different from
That's
the
true.
audience which is indulging into the debate between. Uh,
You're right. They've got nothing to do with the guy who will go and buy it. Silvery,
Yeah.
do you buy jewelry?
Sorry, what?
You can't hear us. Is that why you're so slow? I thought you were just sleepy.
My internet is very slow today, so I've just been
Oh.
every time I hear my name, I've just been asking a question basically.
All the girls who don't like the guys on Tinder, this is the same thing that's happening. So it's a very good excuse. Dheeraj is a commentary on us. He just doesn't like
Yeah.
us. I'm sorry about that,
Yeah.
yaar.
Yeah.
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 We didn't advertise ourselves properly. This is the problem.
Correct.
Ah,
Correct.
all right.
Packaging is not correct.
Yeah, the association is wrong. You shouldn't have come on this show. You made a big mistake. Okay, let's end this. I have to pretend to work, and Dheeraj has got to solve advertising's dilemmas in the next couple of hours. But it's called Speakeasy. It's on IVM podcast. And who are we looking forward to hearing from next? Who's on the
So next,
Speakeasy?
next is Freddie Covington. She's the global head of brand Visa. Freddie's also done a PhD on the idea of leadership in Asia. And she has this whole idea of how leadership in Asia is more familial, more family oriented, more around love and kindness and empathy rather than the hero archetype of leadership, which the Western world promises that one guy and he calls all the shots. So that's a very interesting conversation coming up.
But how can a girl have a name like Freddie? I mean, not to be rude, but
She's Frederick Covington. Yeah.
Frederick is a boy's name, is it not?
No. In France, in French, it's also a girl's name.
Right. This world is crazy, yaar. I just, you just about understand something, they change the concept again. Abhi to Frederick ladke ka naam ho gaya. I don't know how to. Silvery, thank you so much for this entertaining chat. Dheeraj, sorry, but I have to
Thank you
go
so
and
much. Thanks.
shoot something really bad which nobody wants to ever
Yes.
watch. But it's been great talking to you. I hope we get to talk to you again
Good
with
fun,
life's
Cyrus.
controversies very soon. I'm sure something will go wrong in India and we'll get you on if you don't mind.
Yes. Take care. All the best.
All right. Advertising salute
Bye-bye.
from me. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.